Bruges against Paris Saint-Germain. PSG, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus, CBS Sports. Before we get into Jimmy's betting tips, Jonathan Johnson, talk to me about PSG as of late. A good win this past weekend. They didn't need all their superstars, and now the quest begins for Mauricio Pochettino and the Champions League. How do you see them? What's going on?
Yeah, so obviously the big question coming into this one is whether or not we're going to see Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, and Neymar on the pitch at the same time. It's sounding pretty good right now, so let's be grateful for that. That's going to be something definitely worth keeping an eye on in this game. Bruges away as well. It was a funny one last time I was there a couple of years ago. Let's not forget this isn't the first time they've come up against each other in the group stage. It was famous for being that match where Kylian Mbappe came off the bench, still scored a hat-trick, and PSG sort of made their way out of the group stages and then eventually took on Dortmund. And then we know what happened with the rest of the season with COVID impacting, and then PSG managed to make it to the final once they got to Portugal. So, this one it's a favorable opening fixture, I think, for PSG. You've got, they're coming off the back of the Clermont match where they won fairly easily, managed to keep pretty much all of the key guys, out of the squad and out of harm's way, having come back from, international qualifiers all over the world, namely South America, where they were playing sort of in the early hours of Friday morning in French time, with the game against Clermont happening on the Saturday afternoon. So it's coming into this one, I think that it's for PSG. They need to get a fast start to this, because then they've got City at home, which obviously is a crunch match if they want to finish top, and RB Leipzig then at home as well. They really need to capitalize on those two. And, you're looking at that as PSG, I think that they'll be hoping for at least 7 points out of the 9, so obviously no slip-ups against Bruges, and they know what this atmosphere at the stadium is like. It can be very intimate. The atmosphere can get on top of you quite quickly, as you mentioned earlier. Bruges, they're a talented side. They've got some very good players on the roster, as always. Wesley obviously has a special place in our hearts as Villa fans. But I think PSG will be looking at this with all due respect to Club Brugge and thinking, 3 points on the board early doors, go into the City game, and that's when business really gets underway.
Yeah, well, I expect nothing less here, Jimmy Conrad. So talk to me about those betting tips. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's a good question. And again, I'll throw it to JJ first, and then obviously the listeners have to take it into consideration when they see the starting lineups. The over 3.5 goals is plus 115. And given how well they did last time they played a couple years ago in Bruges and won 5-0, I think it's a pretty good bet. It's just a matter of whether we think PSG are going to give up a goal. They have shown some tendencies, kind of Bayern Munich-esque. We're like, our offense is so good. Who cares if we give up one? It's not that big of a deal. So that's an interesting take on this PSG team. We still haven't seen that full throttle yet with all their top players. So it's really hard to know if Bruges is even going to get a sniff in this one. What I found interesting about their game against Clermont Foot this past week was that they were almost even in possession. And also that Ander Herrera and Idrissa Gueye were the ones scoring the goals. Like, what are their holding midfielders doing scoring goals? Which makes me even more nervous for Club Brugge when their top guys aren't even the ones hitting the back of the net. This could be a bloodbath, I think, in a lot of different ways. To JJ's point, I think goal difference could come into play here based on who's going to get first in the group. And obviously, you want to have a better seed getting first in this group, so you have somebody theoretically a little bit easier in the round of 16. So I'm looking at the over 3.5 plus 115. If you think that they're going to get a clean sheet, then for PSG to win and get a clean sheet, it is minus 105. So basically even money. So bet 105 to win 100. And then if you think that Bruges can score, and PSG to win is plus 175. So PSG to win, both teams to score, plus 175 is kind of what I'm looking at. If you think the Messi's going to play, I'll go there really quick. There's not really that much fun. Messi score anytime is minus 154. Mbappe's minus 137 to score anytime. Neymar minus 110. But the value is if Messi will score first, that's plus 250. Kylian Mbappe to score first, plus 275. Neymar to score first, plus 333. So pick your horse and have some fun.
What about all three of them together?
Yeah,
they gave that to me before in a bet, and all three of them to score against, I forgot who it was plus 400. They're not giving me those odds, but I would wait until, if you're really going to go on Caesars Sportsbook or wherever you're looking, just wait for those kind of odds boosts because they do pop up at times, those exotic bets. So I would look for it once the lineup drops.
Yeah, I was going to ask that one as well. And Jimmy, I think you were interested in I saw an interview that JJ just did recently.
Yeah, God, you talked to Gini Wijnaldum, and I'm curious as to, I heard he's one of our biggest fans of the Qué Golazo pod. So what else did he say?
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. Was lucky enough to have a chat with him before PSG's Champions League campaign gets underway. So everyone's got all of that to look forward to coming up, hopefully a little bit before the Bruges match, and then some more before Manchester City. But great guy, speaks very highly of you, and he's definitely excited about this new chapter that's starting for him with PSG.